Hello and welcome to Summit. It's our midweek edition of the program, and I'm really glad to be with you again. It's no longer news that the National Assembly is considering amendments to 161 areas in the 1999 Constitution in the ongoing review. A lot to discuss this morning about the ongoing constitutional review. We want to look at the issue of what do Nigerians really want when it has to do with this constitutional review that's ongoing. You're welcome again. My name is Jumoke Michaels, and I have with me in the studio to look at this issue holistically this morning, Mr. Ademola Adegoke. He's a political analyst and is also a journalist. So he's very vast in issues like this, and we'll be looking at it together. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Jumoke.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me once again.
To share your vast knowledge about national issues.
Good morning to our viewers at home.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You don't look too rested. Hope there's not too much stress ongoing.
Well, maybe I have been road beaten. I haven't traveled, from the countryside. So maybe.
Please do try and rest.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so we're looking at the ongoing constitutional review, what Nigerians really want. All right, so let's start with the need for this constitutional review. Do you believe that there's any need for it at all?
Well, from the standpoint of the fact that no human endeavor is ever perfect, no matter how perfect an effort seems to be, there will always be new challenges and new areas, you understand, and then, life itself is dynamic, especially, the times we are in, so life is the world we live in is so dynamic, and so things keep evolving every day. So from that angle, you can say that there will always be need to look at one or two areas to say that let's look at it. Let's look at this area. What amendment or what change can we make? For example, let's look at the last election. An issue came up in the intention of the framers of the Constitution. Maybe they never meant it that way. That is the issue of the status of Abuja. And the Constitution had stated that for a candidate to emerge winner, you must have at least 25% of 2/3 of all the states in the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. But because of the ambiguity in the couching of that clause, some people wanted to take advantage of it to now misinterpret that provision of the law of the Constitution. So you can always now, maybe because the occasion like that had never arisen before then, that a candidate will convincingly win more than 2/3 of all the other states, but we not win 25% in Abuja. It had never arisen, and some people were going to use it to say, no, if you don't win 25% in Abuja, even if you win every other state, then you have not won. Of course, that could not have been the intention, because that would have made Abuja that will have given Abuja superiority over all other states. That means that for you to win the presidency of Nigeria, even if you win all the majority votes in all the 36 states of the Federation and you don't win in Abuja, then you have not won. So now that misinterpretation, that error of misinterpretation or ambiguity has now been brought to the fore, well, we can now go back to say, okay, let us make it clearer. So there are issues, so there will always be, areas like that. So to that extent, we can say, there may be need for periodic review of our constitution.
All right, to take care of all those
To take-
ambiguous edges to those.
yeah, and there may be new challenges. Yes, like I've said, life keeps evolving. The world we live keeps evolving. Every day. So we can always look at new challenges, and then we look at those areas, and then we see what amendments we make.
Okay. No, but you see, there are those who believe that the issue of the Constitution is not just about the document, but about the managers.
Yeah.
So are you agreeing that it's not really about the document itself, but the managers, so many times, like you said, you just mentioned about the Abuja status during the last election. Is it really about that document or about the managers?
About the managers. Yes, I want to align myself with that position that it is not really about the documents. It's about the implementation and the people and the managers of as you have put it. The United States Constitution that we patterned our own after was enacted in 1787. And it came into effect in 1789 after the ratification by the states. So since 1789, if I can recall, the last time I checked, I think it has undergone 27 amendments. Since 1789, it has undergone 27 amendments. If it hasn't, I don't think that's the last time I checked. And then the last amendment was in 1992. That was which has to do with the congressional pay rise. That is their own senators and legislators cannot raise their pay until after the next election. So they have their reason for doing that. It is done such that even if as legislators you raise your pay, you cannot benefit from it until after the election, when people will now will now gauge your performance. And so they did that. That was in 1992. What the point one is trying to drive at is that it's not the frequency of amendments that actually, if that actually matters. If for like 235 years or so, there have only been 27 amendments in the United, and this is the Constitution we patterned ours after. It then means that they have come to live with the document they have and to see how they make the best of it. The issue is, how well are we making the best of the document we have? And like you said, before now, we practiced the Westminster Constitution, patterned after our colonial masters, the UK. And then we practiced the Westminster Constitution from 1963 to 1966 when the military came. And then in 1979, we felt that maybe the reason why we failed in the First Republic was because of the Constitution. And then we now said, okay, because of the plurality, because of the heterogeneous nature of the country, let us now go after the U.S. Constitution, which is a federal state like ours. And we did that. But for how long did it actually survive? It only, that Constitution only lasted from 1979 to 83. The military came in again. And then 1999, we said, okay, let's still go for the federal, for the presidential constitution, like that we went for in 1979. But from 1999 to date, what have we really gained? You understand? Democratically. To what extent has that constitution enriched our democracy. So I want to agree with those who are saying that it is not only about the document itself, it's about the managers. It's about the managers. If the whatever document you have in your hand, if you are determined to make the best of it, to make a success of it, you will say, okay, even regardless of the imperfections, let us work with this and make the best of it, and then deliver the dividends of democracy to our people, even with the imperfect document.
Even if you look at that document, let's try and just weigh it between 0 to 100%. How well do you think the managers are actually going with that constitution, running the economy, practicing democracy with that constitution between ratio 0 to 100 or percentage? How would you even rate it?
Well, at best, I will want to rate the performance level maybe a D.
Well, that's a pass or a fail.
Maybe a D.
Very poor.
Mere pass. Mere pass. Maybe 40, between 40, 45. That's what I will, see we start from a 50. I don't think I want to, I don't think I want to award a C
50%.
to our performance, because you discover that, like we have said, you see, you discover that our politicians on this side of the globe, they have a way of circumventing laws, to their own advantage. So it is not, you can have a document, but the point is in its observance. How well? The point is in us adhering to the provisions of that document. And you discover that, let's look at our electoral system. The Constitution provides, for an independent electoral body, both at the federal and at the state level. That is the provision of the law. But between you and me, Jumoke, how independent are those electoral bodies? I mean, the one at the federal level, and how independent? It is even worse if we are complaining of interference, at the federal level. It is even worse at the state level. And that is why you discover that there is no local government election, save for the election in Kaduna held under the former governor Nasir El-Rufai. There is hardly any local government election where you don't see the ruling party in the state winning all the councillorship seats, winning all the chairmanship seats. I mean, does that sound real? Does it sound real? It does. Right. It doesn't sound real.
All right. So with this lack of trust that the people have towards politicians or political leaders, now the Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps, that's Benjamin Kalu, has come to say that governors will be engaged in the review process because they are perceived to be critical stakeholders. Stakeholders, okay? Now, when it comes to issue of inclusivity, are governors the only stakeholders to be engaged? Saying that, we know that, like you said, they are perceived to bend the rules always to suit them. Their purpose. You understand? So for the Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps to come to say it's the governors that they're going to carry along
as critical
every step of the way, in this review process. Are you comfortable with that?
Well,
and is that how far they can go in inclusivity of the people?
Well, it should be a concern, but maybe we can give the Deputy Speaker and his colleagues and his legislator colleagues some benefit of the doubt that they will not stop their engagement with the governors at the point of the governors alone. Yes, the governors as rulers in the different subnationals of the country. Yes, I agree they are stakeholders, but I don't think they are even they have higher stakes in the affairs of the country than do the people.
Yeah.
You understand? So I expect that, yes, you can engage with the governors, but the real people to engage with, you understand, to really, the real critical stakeholders. The governor is just one person in a state. For example, what is the population of Lagos State? About 20 million. And you have just one person as the governor. So that one person, you cannot be the aggregator of all the views of the people of the state. You understand? So I expect that, yes, if you engage the governors, please go down the line. Go down the line. Go down the line. Civil society groups, market women, labor unions, traditional rulers. These are critical stakeholders as well. So and I don't know why they are even starting with governors. For example, I would have expected that their engagement will have started with the people. And this is what we are saying. What will be the outcome of a constitution that does not have the input of the people, of as many people, as many stakeholders as possible.
The 2014 National Confab actually had a very big picture. Let me call congregation of people representing different geopolitical zones, local governments, and all that of the people. Now, why do you think that this time around, because like I said, this is not the first time we are doing a constitution review. Now, why would you think that they will start this way by not involving the people?
Well, that's why I've said that we should give them that benefit of the doubt. But the starting point for me is it's not smooth enough. You understand? You don't start with the governors. Start with the people. You understand? Start with the people. Start with like I've said, you have the labor unions, you have the CAU, the civil society organizations, you have the students, you have student bodies and all of, so this is what one expects. And then, you raise the awareness level of people that we want to produce a new constitution for you, or we want to make amendments in the present constitution. What are your views? And then by the time you make it as inclusive as possible, then you will have a very an all-encompassing constitution. You have a very robust document as your constitution. But if you are limiting it to the politicians, who the people are already seeing as the problem of the system, then, there is an issue there. There is an issue. So there is an issue.
All right, so let's talk about key areas to be addressed during the review process. Which areas do you think need to be explicitly addressed? Especially because it seems like they are starting with their own mindset, and what they feel are the challenges of the people.
Well, he has said that they have 161 areas. They will do well to let us know, to let us have a comprehensive list of areas that they want to address. But there are so many areas that people have been talking about. Even the entire structure of the country, people have been saying before now that we need to do a revisit of the structure, especially the relationship between the central government and the subnationals. The central government, the constitution we have presently seems to give the lion's share of the powers to the central government, and people are clamoring for devolution of powers, from the central to the subnationals. So that would be an area, to look at. People have talked about, resource control. That may be an area. You understand? So the point, the point for me, in the Constitution is to have a stronger nation, and not for us to have, a very strong central government and very weak, you understand? Yeah. Very weak, beggarly subnationals that cannot survive on their own until they go cap in hand, to the central government. We have to look at how the Constitution will empower the states, you understand, to be able productive. To become more productive, you understand. So these are the things. The issue of state police, is another one. Yeah. They know that it's another issue that has been generating so much interest among people. Is it to be or not to be? These are all issues. The issue of our electoral process. How do we make the electoral process more credible, you understand, fair, you understand, and each free at all times? And how do we even bring in technology? How do we leverage on technology, you understand, to make our electoral process more, error-proof than we have now? It's a thing of shame for me as a Nigerian that every time we want to vote, the whole system is shut down.
Like a war.
Like a war. The whole system is shut down. In the recent Ondo State election, about over close to 30,000 policemen, and other security agents were deployed to monitor the election. And for how long do we want to continue like that? Can we leverage on technology? Maybe so. If the Constitution can come to our rescue in those areas, how independent is our judiciary? These are all areas, you understand, that we can look at.
All right. Well, there are also those who feel that instead of all this tweaking and rechecking and all that, why don't we just have a new constitution altogether instead of all this? And you know that there are those who have been saying that this 1999 constitution we're talking about actually transversed from the military era, So, and that it's not really a people friendly, really people-oriented constitution. So don't you think that what the National Assembly should be doing now, like some people are agitating for, is actually a new constitution that will put into consideration this era, this century, we are living in, make it more 21st century compliant, so to speak. What's your thought on that?
Well, I have just, I said earlier on that the Constitution, that will take us back to the discussion, the conversation about, is it about the document or the managers? I had said earlier on that the United States Constitution came into effect in 1789, and it has,
reviewed it several times,
and it has only 27 times, and it has stood the test of time, for over 230 something years that it has existed. So, for those who are of the opinion that we should have a brand new constitution, I can understand their frustration with the present system. But maybe the whole thing will still depend whether we come up with a new constitution or we tweak the present one. The whole thing will still depend on how ready we are, to abide by the provisions. Even yes, you can say that the Constitution provided by the people, bequeathed to us by the military, is not people-oriented enough. They didn't consult with the people, yet they wrote as a preamble, "We the people of Nigeria." You know, you can fault it, you can critique the constitution in that area. Yes, I agree. But then, even if we decide to make the best of it, to make a success of it will still succeed.
Yeah.
So without necessarily having a brand new constitution. You understand? Like you have said, you quoted the deputy speaker of the House of Reps saying 161 areas. That's a lot. That's a lot. By the time you touch 161 areas, and he has not even said that is all. Maybe they will still look at many other areas. So, excuse me. By the time you look at you make amendments in 161 areas, you are almost having a brand new constitution in your hand. Okay. So, but the point is that we must be ready. We must be ready to respect our own laws and rules. So if we are not ready, even if it were possible to go to heaven to import a constitution and we bring it down, if the people are not ready, if the managers are not ready to abide by its provisions, we will still have, the kind of chaotic situation we are having presently in our hands.
All right, so how do you think we can avoid a scenario whereby people begin to perceive this as a kind of elitist thing?
Yes, I talked
how
about,
do we avoid it?
From the background of a communication strategist that one is, I want to believe that I remember, the late MKO Abiola. He popularized that maxim, that Yoruba aphorism, that you cannot shave a man's head in his absence. You understand? And I will want to appeal to our politicians that if the constitution is about the people, then you cannot shave their head in their absence. The people, their awareness level has to be raised so high. If
like that 2014 confab. The awareness was very high.
So you have to raise the awareness level and make it as inclusive as possible. It is not only people who can speak the kind of English that you and I speak here in the studio that should be consulted. Even the
people in the
people in the rural areas, that Baba Fatai that is selling meat in the market may also have an idea. You understand? So you need that mama put, you understand, in the garage. They also have an idea. She may not be able to speak, receive pronunciation English that, people, will come and speak in this studio. You need to hear, you need to broaden your consultation level so that it will not be perceived as, like we say here, to use the street lingo, na dem. So that it won't be na dem kind of thing. Yeah. We have to make it, as inclusive as possible. We consult widely. We don't limit, like we have said, it's not just about the governors, because the constitution is not about the governors, it's about the people. Yeah. So if the people will not perceive it as an elitist thing as it has happened in the past, we need to really make it as inclusive as possible, get as many people, as many views as possible. You have the Constitution Review Committee, but you have to go around the country. Even the diaspora, like they're talking about diaspora voting now, even the people in the diaspora, they must have an input because they are elsewhere. They see, how things are done over there, and they can bring in ideas that this is what we are doing that we are not getting right. If we do not make it as inclusive as possible, it will just be an exercise in futility. That is the way I see it.
Okay. Now, we're talking about democracy. We know that the judiciary and the legislative play a very, very huge role when it has to do with democracy. Now, what are the kind of changes you think should be looked into when it has to do with the judiciary and legislative arm of government in this review to help democracy grow in Nigeria?
You know that the present constitution provides for the autonomy, the independence of the judiciary and even the legislature. But you also know that as we have it presently, for the legislature, I mean, I can't see that independence. I can't see that autonomy. The executive has succeeded in hijacking and, if not pocketing, the legislature. They have succeeded, and that is why you see that most times, you know, the legislature, we always do the bidding. You know, the legislature, we always do the bidding of the executive. They have pocketed them. One of the things that I also expect that I expect the Constitution to do is to also, we must have it enshrined in our Constitution, the promotion of what you call, internal democracy in our parties, real internal democracy. And what do I mean by that? Because of the situation now, hardly can anybody become a legislator without the consent of the governor.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And you also have a situation where it's only the money bags that emerge, you understand, through the process. But when you have true internal democracy, in those days, you may have a Taylor, you may have it, the people like him, he will emerge. So through internal democracy, the Constitution must have a way. How it's going to be done, I don't know if I have the idea, but there must be a way that true internal democracy must be promoted so that the legislature can be wherever that people will emerge, from a process that is truly, credible, not the governor's wish or whoever that the governor likes emerging as the legislator. So when we have that, there will be independence of the legislature. Now talking about the judiciary, I also, yes, we have for example, the Constitution provides for the National Judicial Commission, NJC. We need to also, make that body truly independent, and even through funding, that it will not depend on the executive for its funding, so that you don't find a situation whereby, and that is what we have now, you see courts of, correlate jurisdiction giving counter judgments. You got, courts of coordinate jurisdiction. This one we say the election is okay. The other one we say the election is not okay, and all of that. So maybe when we come up with a system that actually makes the NJC or whichever body is to supervise the judiciary, is to coordinate the judiciary, when we make it so independent of the executive, then we will not be having the kind of situation we are having presently.
This conversation has just shown me that these very important tasks, we actually have many challenges.
Yeah, it will.
So can you just maybe just talk about a few of the challenges you foresee, and maybe just mention how those can be
We have already talked about some of the, even in our conversation here, some of the challenges have come out. One of the challenges is for this process, if this process is limited to the elites alone, you understand, we won't have a good outcome, of the process. Another challenge, which we have also talked about, is the challenge of how to make the people believe in the process of this review. You understand? And that can only be done through raising awareness level, like we have said. The people have to be enlightened what it is all about. So there are some people that do not even understand what you are talking about, that the country is not just run, anyhow, that there must be a guiding principle, a guiding document. So when people are made to understand this, then they can say, okay, I can make my contribution. So one of the challenges again is one of the challenges that we are having presently is to make the people understand, you understand, what the essence of this process and what their role should be. So I expect that the House the drivers of the review will address this challenge by raising the awareness level. Another challenge that we may also have is that this process may be hijacked by politicians. It may be hijacked.
Because of the way it's starting, right? Because it's starting from the top.
From the top. So the politicians may hijack it and they will protect their interest again. And then the people, will suffer again. So we can, all these challenges, these are all pitfalls. These are all red flags that we must be mindful of in this process. It is not just for us to say we want to embark on a process like this. The end goal is to actually enrich our democracy, is to ensure that we have a better system than we are having presently. It's not just about the exercise. So these are the challenges. One, we have to ensure that this process is not for politicians alone. It is not hijacked by them. That we must try and do.
Wow, thank you so much. I know that like you said, the constitutional review process is still ongoing. All right, so there's still so many things that will come up and open up for discussion concerning this constitutional review. But before we leave, what will be your final word to Nigerians?
My final word to Nigerians is that all hope is not lost. We still, yes, things may look so bleak, but the fact that we keep trying, as we can see in this constitutional review, gives hope that, if we keep trying, we may get it right. So my final word to Nigerians is that I have talked about the awareness level. The country is yours. It belongs to you. And no one has a higher stake in this country than you have. So I want to appeal to all Nigerians. When the process of the constitutional review is brought to us down here, let us try as much as possible to make our own input. Let us not leave it to them to say, nah them. But they will do things that will affect us. So as Nigerians, we have to show as much interest in the affairs of our country as possible. It is not about the rulers. It is not about the politicians. It is about us. It is about our children and their future. That is why we must show interest in this constitutional review.
And not sugarcoat the words. We should tell them as it is.
No. We have to tell them.
Feel.
We have
Don't
to.
hide your feelings.
We have to.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for your very amazing contribution to this interesting topic.
Thank you, Jumoke,
appreciate you.
for
Thank you for obliging me.
Thanks.
All right, and that's Summit this morning. But like we'd always do before we leave, we'll showcase some of the developmental strides of the government of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu in Lagos State. We'll go to another sector today to show you what is happening in the state, Lagos State. Banji is not here today, but he will be back next week on the program. So please enjoy the rest of your day and please be a good Nigerian. I am Jumoke Michaels. Bye-bye.